Boom! We's live now. It's going down. It is going down. It is going down. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? My good people, listen. I got my mic here. You see that? I don't know. Who was that used to say, my mic sound nice, check one. What y'all know about that out here in these social media streets? I got me a mic I got to hold because today it is about to be hot up in here as we clear up some of this nonsense that's going on in the beauty industry. Now, I'm going to try to get, you know me, I got to get the little conversation going, Cheryl, you know what I'm saying? Because yesterday I did something, I was bad yesterday, okay? I was mad because I couldn't go live, so I went on Instagram, you know, to see where the hairstylist was at. I said, where are the hairstylists at in this conversation about, what's up with creamy crack? You know, is creamy crack really creamy crack? Is it whack? So I got in the chat, you know, and so the naturalistas, so come to find out that it's something that's growing in this industry that I didn't know anything about. So apparently, the natural hair people, they too, they believe some of this stuff. So now we see, if you guys notice, what I posted yesterday, right? And what I posted today, I had to add the word division, because not only is junk research harmful to the beauty and barber industry as far as African Americans are concerned, but they're also maybe contributing, I don't want to say responsible, but maybe they're contributing to some of the division, because a lot of hairstylists who specialize in natural hair or natural hairstylists, they believe that relaxers are in fact dangerous and bad for our health. So we got some people in the chat. I knew the creamy crack was gonna bring them through, because creamy crack, I see my BFF, I'm not making this up, my childhood best friend from when I was 11 years old. What's up, Chrissy Boo? Chrissy Boo, I know you're gonna kill me for this, but I have to do it, okay? I must do it, okay? So while we're waiting for a couple of people to come through the chat, Cheryl, let me just say this right quick. Chrissy and I were such a nerd. How much of a nerd were we? We were such nerds, we used to read the dictionary to each other. I'm sorry, Chrissy. I'm sorry, Chrissy. You know I love you. I had to go there. This is what, and you know what we used to do with the big words? We used to, you know, we used to use them on the kids on the playground, and if they would say stuff, you know, we would, instead of saying like you're a liar, we would go, you're a prevaricator. We had a new word. We was bad with it too. The boys couldn't talk to us. You know, we would just use we're just being nonchalant. We tore up nonchalant. We tore up Chrissy, did we tear up nonchalant? We tore nonchalant up, so poor nonchalant. Nonchalant. We're probably in the dictionary. Speaking of nonchalant, this topic that Cheryl, I really hope you are ready to really address this. Now, post the live, I do have some clips, from Mr. Sharp, who had a lot to say about this topic. Yes. And so I'm going to play what Mr. Sharp said, but I wanted to wait till after, you had your say-so to see if it jived with what Mr. Sharp is saying, so that when I go to, make the videos, I wanted to kind of connect to see if you might say something different, I'm not quite sure. But to those of you who are joining us here on our podcast, and again, it is affectionately titled, we talk about some of the dumbest hit that people say about black hair. We are in our 9th episode. And so if you are catching us in the live right now, we would love if you could go ahead on and hit that thumbs up button, right? And don't forget to share the content, because we feel that this is something that people would enjoy and learn from, all right? But today, this is our 9th episode, and we are going to be talking about the dangers of junk research. And this topic is really based around relaxers. And so the junk research right now is saying, and has been saying, did you know that they have been saying this now for almost 10, 15 years? I did not know that. I thought this just came out this year. I'm telling you. Well, not this year, but this has been going on, guys, for quite some time, okay? So this is Lusters, and I don't know, Cheryl, if you're familiar with this company at all. Maybe you can, I know you don't represent them, but maybe we could talk about Lusters. Who can forget, Dark and Lovely? So again, the dilemma is that there are ingredients in relaxers that certain researchers believe are a link to breast cancer, fibroid tumors, and early development in breast. Now, I'm in the big boob clan, and I don't know about that one. And then here's the relaxer that we use. Now, we use Creamy Crack. Okay, and I don't know about you, Cheryl. Let me just, we do use Creamy Crack or hair relaxers, okay? But I am just going to go on record to say I am pro relaxers, okay? I'm not anti-relaxers. I have my doubts about the research, and so what we want to do now is we want to get into this discussion. Now, what's up? We got I see Facebook is lightening up. Okay, we got Atlanta's in the house. We also have our Canadian sister Shauna's in the house. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Cheryl, to help get us started is we have 4 things we want to talk about on this subject. All right, and so the first one is going to be we're going to have Cheryl define what is junk research. Because maybe some people are not even familiar with that term, and I will say I would be the first to know. I had never heard of it until Cheryl said it. I thought all research was good research because, they're PhDs, they're scholars, so who's going to do junky research, okay? So that was my naivete. And then we're going to pick Cheryl's brain about what makes it harmful to hairstylists, what makes this junk research harmful to natural hairstylists, and what is it doing to the beauty industry. Now, before we get into that, Cheryl, I definitely want you, to just be, just real unadulterated in this situation. And all the beauticians that are in the chat, feel free. Now is the time for us to unite. And if you're really concerned about it, go ahead on and put your questions in the chat so that we can, get some answers. So Cheryl, you're doing okay?
I am.
All right. So to those of you who don't know, we do have to take just a beautiful moment, which we had hours, to give you our condolences to the greatest in the beauty and barber industry ever, your father, Dr. Willie Morrow. So we are going to carry forth his legacy, and this live is setting the tone that Cheryl and I, we're on the move, so you guys need to stay with us, and we're going to take you guys to some wonderful new heights, and we want you guys to go on this journey with us. We are certain that you are going to enjoy this, okay? So let's get it started, and let's begin to talk about, can you just define right now, people don't know what the ham sandwich is junk research, because like I said, I thought all research was good. So what is junk research?
I call it junk research, and I want to say apologize because I did it on my end. But okay, can everyone hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay. Junk research in my opinion, professional acumen is a group of professionals that are outskirts of that industry that have limited knowledge. I'm gonna turn this down a bit. I don't like the feedback. Is that good? Is it good?
Yes, you sound absolutely perfect. Yes.
So, when you embark on a study that you have limited information in backstory in the chemical relationship, and then of course the physiology, anatomy, the limited information on how the immune system and how wound healing and how those interact with the trade called cosmetology. When you are working with, and you are working with limited information, you know that as a researcher, you know that as a group, and then you begin to ask questions that will lead to outcomes. And the very strange thing about it being junk research is that when they create press releases and news channels and news outlets begin to talk about it, the word may is always going to be emphasized. It may cause, it has been found and to be linked. And then those particular studies are always inconclusive. And my thing is, in terms of the damage, what it does to the consumer body, and when there is already little information about Afro textures, Afro scalps, Afro follicles, and how they interact with chemical treatments. And when the information does not get redefined or it gets, refreshed, like all industry information does, the problem is that it needs to come from the industry in and of itself, and not from outside Boston universities and things of that nature, and outside grant funded means. And so, and you starting to ask yourself, what would the issue, what would the reason and that you're not a real interaction on the surface. These are not, and the skin is not in the face. And so I think listen to the very, what I find to find the language that is connected to the industry itself. And so I'm pro technology and I'm pro Salon. And so that is to move very damaging the economics of.
Okay, wait a minute. Excuse me. Miss Foster came in and said the audio is kind of screwing up, so maybe just lean closer in. Thank you so much, Miss Foster. We appreciate that. So Cheryl's just going to lean in a little. How's my audio, Miss Foster? Give us a thumbs up before we go forward, and what she'll backtrack on that. So say something, and Miss Foster will let us know if you can hear us. Okay, say something again.
Miss Foster, how you doing? Is it pretty good?
She said we're good. All right. So we both need to stay close to our mics, is what she's saying. Okay. All right. Thank you. So we're going to lean in. All right. So just kind of backtrack on what you were saying about you had to decipher, or you looked at the language. Maybe talk about that a little bit more.
And I always contact the study group because it's important. We maintain very high function in relationship with the research work, but I don't they're rooted or their lack of communication with technology, and to be able to pull in good synopsis that will lead to the questions of their purpose. And so we're going to do a foundation and a good syllabus whatever you're going to extract to me, and for them to always be included. To me, it's damaged.
Okay. All right. So before we go a little bit forward, Ms. Foster is saying that my sound is good and that there is, yours is just a little bit muffled. So again, thank you, Ms. Foster. We're going to just keep working on this sound to get it just a little bit better.
Better?
Yeah. Okay. Say something again.
That better?
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I see. I'm so entrenched, Ms. Foster. Thank you so much. I'm mesmerized when you're talking about the language. Let me just ask you. I heard you say a few things, and before we proceed. And again, if you guys are just joining us, you are listening to the podcast, "The Dumbest Hit That People Say About Black Hair," and we are seriously going to unpack this concern, and we understand that why consumers would be concerned about relaxers, because people have experienced burns, and people have stories of their hair falling out and things of that nature. So we do get that. But the research is what we are questioning. So you said something that was very interesting when you talked about in the language that people don't necessarily understand, the science and the language and the words that we choose to use when we are talking about something clearly we don't know anything about, So can you give us some examples of some of the language, like, or let me say, would this be a good example? And then you'll go a little bit farther. So if you've been following us, I posted a clip where a hairstylist said, and I quote, yeah, I know that chemicals are dangerous, because anything that you put on your skin that's a chemical, it's going to be dangerous. So is that some language that you're talking about, or is this, or am I off kilter when people say that chemicals are what's dangerous? It's the natural that's good, and it's the chemicals. So is that the language you're talking about?
No, the language is how to know the difference dangerous, hazardous, and then hazardous from poisonous. It's not quite the same thing. And dangerous is so ambiguous. It's not indicative of the actual activity that's happening, because dangerous would mean that if you didn't open it, it would cause you any harm. So you have to open it, you have to mix it, you have to do a lot of things. Hazardous means that it has the potential to cause something that is not reversible. Or poisonous means that, it has the ability to cause systemic harm. And when we also, one of the reasons why the FDA categorizes these things in proper category, because let me say this, no one has ever said to any customer on this call or any time by saying Nair is hazardous, Nair is poisonous. They are depilatories. They melt hair away, hair lasing, hair tanning. So, but those industries would not allow researchers to just say anything, because it is damaging to the actual service industry. So why would relaxers, for some odd reason, people use Nair? It's called a depilatory. It's a hair removal. So why wouldn't depilatory be harmful and cause fibroids and breast cancer and things of that nature? You use it on your bikini. You do all types of things, depilatories, hair removers, but it's never because they don't let you do that to their industry. They don't let just junk research do that. You have to be factual, you have to be accurate, you have to be precise, and you just can't be putting things out by saying it may be, has been found to, or linked to, and then the whole study's inconclusive. But you have to read the whole study in order to find that it's inconclusive, that it has no real scientific finding. But it is the press release and the headlines in the news that makes it into Yahoo News, and it makes it into the algorithms that makes it so industrial, dangerous to a profession. And that's my problem with it.
Okay, let me just tell you, the chat is on fire. So already they like, excuse the expression, but damn, homie, hey, in high school you was the man, homie. They like, damn, I never thought of it. Everybody's in the chat like, this is eye-opening. And this is why we are doing the documentary called The Narrative. Do you guys understand what is happening to us? And like I said, I probably would not have used the word divisive until I went live on Instagram yesterday, and I saw a lot of natural hair people come in, but they wouldn't say anything. So that let me know right there that there are some concerns, and so we are not trying to poo-poo anybody's legitimate concerns. Okay, but what we're saying is that, like you said, it's the language that you have to understand, because I'm going to read some of the headlines that she's talking about. Bitch the Community says, parabens found in many products trigger breast cancer. Then we had the Shade Room, and I tagged them too. The Shade Room, I'm going to be hashtagging y'all, because Cheryl and I, we want to come into the Shade Room, because y'all throwing shade on the beauty industry, because the Shade Room, and this would be in June of 2022, they quoted the Endocrine Society, and they repeated that parabens found in many products trigger breast cancer. And then in June of 2021, PBS, I'm quoting, 25-year-old study links frequent use of relaxer based to higher risk of breast cancer. I repeat, PBS quotes 25-year-long study links frequent use of lye-based relaxers to higher risk of breast cancer. Okay, so what's up with the parabens? Because you see parabens everywhere. So we're just going to keep the conversation moving. What's wrong with parabens?
Paraben is a the problem is that parabens do not have a formulation place in a high pH product like relaxers or hair straighteners. You wouldn't need to put a paraben in a depilatory, a hair removal, because the pH is already going to, and we talked about that last week, that even high pHs, alkalins and salts already in and of itself preserves the food. That's why how you dry it out and preserve it for days on end, weeks on end, months on end. That's, the parabens have no place in most beauty products that are meant to be salon services, because they don't need to be preserved, because they don't have any active or anything in the product that would spoil. So preservative, but my goal here with our conversation today is to understand what would make Yahoo's algorithm and Google's algorithm just spit out a 25-year-old study. So my whole thing is that there must be a economic change in the forecasting of the trends going back to a natural cosmetic treatment in an economic boom that will probably leave out most European Americans from the bonanza of those types of movements back into the salon, because it cannot be health generated. Because if you're health generated, then there are so many other things that we could be talking about. And that's number one. Number two, why can't we have the technology and discuss it in STEM programs and in colleges? Why can't we make it safer? That's the point. We can't make it safer because who is going to be at the first pecking order in the food chain at these scientific, laboratories and this new technology and this new frontier of healthier hair treatments, texture enhancements, and all types of formula that Mr. Morrow and myself have been a part of. That I think that they know that the natural hair care anti-straight is not a sustainable industry. They're going to go back to wanting to transition, and they're going to want ultimate transition, and they're going to want to go back to curly and natural, and they're going to want cosmetic enhancement to their hair strands. So who's going to benefit from all of that? That's the question. And that is why it's a very weird thing for just studies to come out of the blue.
Okay, all right. So we're going to so every time you finish talking, and make sure I don't lose you, when I'm done, I'm going to mute the mic so that people can hear you, because it is my mic that doesn't sound nice, okay? I mean, what you're saying is it's actually mind-blowing. So you're saying so much, so are you saying that there is something bigger going on, that this whole scare with the relaxers and the parabens, particularly the relaxers, or just the sensationalism that's geared towards Black people, you believe that these headlines are for a bigger economic gain for someone else? Let's talk about that just a little bit more.
And let's just make sure that we really see this clearly, because in the forecast is that we hit the mark in just hair care, $1.5 trillion. So if Black America can completely lose and have that redirected and completely out of any type of technological, any type of consultative, any type of any skill set formulation, just completely lose it. That's $1.5 trillion in terms of aggregating all of that to European, Asian, Indian companies. And so that's why I cannot sit back and let a technological rich, sophisticated industry of cosmetic trends pipeline into the salons. We can't afford to be able to see that die. That is incredible. So when you have help in the sake of research, and it really actually was a ghost that dismantles Black hands from the control of the technology and where it's going. They can make a better car. Why can't we make a better texture enhancement? Why can't we make a whole new genre of new tech? Why can't, we're stuck. Like our brains can't get together and say, okay, well, we have corn, the guanidine, and we got other ethanols, and we can replace other chemicals where we can make it more sustainable. We can't do that. Why are we still just in the study of the boogeyman?
All right. Let me come in. Now they in the chat. They like, yo, dog, that's crazy. It's eye-opening. It's like it's happening right before our very eyes. It's like we are missing. What your mom is saying? If it was a snake, it would have jumped out and bit you. You know, or you can't see the forest for the trees. So we're seeing that something is happening, but it's like we're looking the wrong way, and so we're being focused on things like relaxers are caustic. Relaxers are causing cancer, when in reality there's something bigger going on. I do predict, I mean, we already see that people are wanting to go back to altering their hair. So you're right, we do see it's starting to make a reverse. When you go to Google, when you in the hair salons, I do a curly perm every week. I honestly, we do relaxers every week. We never stop doing relaxers, but someone put in the chat that Chrissy did. She said, I went to natural because of my immunity and thyroid conditions. So again, people are moving away from the chemicals because they believe it is going to do things like affect their immune system and their thyroid conditions. But what you have to understand is they're using your fear to draw you back into another market that they have the science and technology to take your what? Dollar bills, and we are being stuck on something else. Let me mute that mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, and let's be really clear here. You know, I want the natural hair care and the whole entire industry of natural hair practitioners, braiders, locticians, and natural hair care, barbers, whoever you are. The key here, and I want to be clear with you, okay, in that, you know, being pro relaxer, pro industry, pro cosmetology, you know, is not about your connection with chemicals. And I don't want you to be anti-straight hair so much that you end up losing $1.5 trillion, because you will not get it again. It will not be in your hands again. Because at the end of the day, we have not made not one shea butter millionaire. It has nothing to do. It's control of raw goods, control of your natural resources, control over your brain to create technology that make things safer. You don't get rid of furniture polish. You make it safer. You don't get rid of candles. You just make them out of soy. You make them better. And the problem is the next Willie Morrows and the next Olive Bensons, the next people, they're in HBCUs, but I can't get to them because everybody's so anti-straight hair or anti-chemical or anti-technology that you're going to lose, and they're going to steal it, because at nowhere in terms of history, no chronological record, have they ever been that concerned about your health that was not backed by stealing. Let's just be clear on that.
Okay, man, I'm telling you, fire. So what's coming up in the chat here, and this is on YouTube, and super duper shout out to all the people in the YouTube chat. I noticed, let me just say this. I noticed LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very interesting platform. We are deliberately coming on to LinkedIn because as you talk about this, and we see in the chat, you can't see it, but I'm going to tell you what's in the chat, Cheryl, fear. And you said something, and I would like for you to just kind of go back on it and then connect this to what I'm about to say, okay? So fear is very real, all right? So, and I deliberately went on to the LinkedIn platform. We had to, because what I am seeing as a licensed professional, I am seeing people with more and perhaps maybe just a different type of an education. And they are encroaching. I'm going to let my fingers come through. And this is to your statement that they want this money. So we now see academia, and they're just coming in onto this beauty industry. And we're inviting them, invite us to the table that our ancestors built to buy their freedom so that you can get this PhD education. And now you're going to bite it down, and you're going to encroach onto the very people who've beautified you through high school, grade school, college. And now all of a sudden, we have to pay you, the experts, for your expertise. You're here. We had to come on to the LinkedIn platform because there's a division, just like this line right here between us, as if we cannot work together. And this is not good, because if you guys who are in that scholarly community would understand what we're seeing as licensed by the state, okay? We're bona fides too. But when we look in this chat, we're seeing nothing but fear. But like she said, when you look in other industries, they didn't get rid of the candles. They didn't get rid of the furniture polish. They didn't get rid of bleach. They didn't even get rid of ammonia. They just put a bigger damn sticker on the bottle that says, don't drink it. You know what I'm saying? But we see fear. So kind of speak to that boogeyman. I think that's what you were talking about. And this encroachment that's coming outside of the beauty industry from your scholarly community and the natural hair community, who do not have that level of education that we're required. So the chat is like, we're dead on. So I'm gonna mute my mic, and can you just go there if it's not too much?
Well, one of the last conversations and we have to be the vanguards of the industrial revolutions. There was never anything called the natural revolution. This world is ran by information, formulation, a set of values, a set of methods that increase and makes and raises the standards of living. And just because of your personal belief system. And let me also say that who connected beauty with health? Now you guys buy lip gloss and put it on your mouth. You buy lipstick and you never hear of anything. The only thing that you basically will hear about lip makeup is that, do you know that they're killing whales to make lipstick? They do not mention that the lipstick is going in your throat, down your esophagus, down to your thyroid, down to your hypertension, into your bloodstream. The mascara in your eyes is going into your blood. They don't mention those things like that. So you have to do some critical analysis of what the beauty industry in a technological conversation, what did it do? It built the Negro Baseball League. It built jazz clubs. It built the historical Black college educational system. It built Black America. So that is one of the reasons why. So we have to get real clear here. Okay, Black folks buy a lot of things, but they do not come after it in such a sinister way, and to not have it, and it's so insidious, because you have to be careful because of what you read and how you read it, because it looked like they're very concerned about you. Black women's health, because they continue this conversation in terms of disparities of Black women's health, and then Black women's health is at the bottom. So they're set up, when they do mention you, you say, oh, they're mentioning us all of a sudden, so they must care and they must did some research, because at the end of the day, they're not worried about the parabens in your salad dressing. They're not worried about the parabens in any other place, except some place that it has no relevance. And that is what I'm talking about. It must be other means to be able to fear us into a natural industry that is going to serve us to have to come to them for the research, them for the science, them for the raw goods, them for the everything. And this industry has built Black America, and we just can't afford to go to be duped and for it to just be taken right from under our nose based on concern of something. We have to read in between the lines. It's very important. This is 1.5 trillion. Now, let me just say this. You divide 1.5 trillion by 10,000. That means that 10,000 Black folks will be millionaires in a net worth of $100 million. That's what this.
Can I say this? Damn!
That's important. We do the math. Follow the money. If you really want to see what this is about, follow the money. Because at the end of the day, an anti-straight hair, pro-natural girl has nothing to do with the infringement on the choice of someone wanting to go in and elongate and to get California green or the thermotryptamine formula and to get her hair one way. What does that have to do with the enrichment of the salon industry? The license means something because now they know that they're going to be making $250,000 a year. But see, and that's the conversation. That's the conversation, because you guys are cosmetologists. You do everything. You do everything. You are the physicians of the beauty industry. You do everything. You don't have anything to do with what people's choice. And show me one doctor, one dermatologist, one endocrinologist, one gynecologist, obstetrician, OBGYN. Show me one that can tell me that whatever condition you are suffering from is direct, can be linked to that, the fact that you wanted to be fried, dyed, laid to the side, and not your drinking water, not your emotional state, not your stress levels, not your cortisol, not your adrenalines inside of your adrenals and your kidneys. You just please, we just need to be able to redirect this narrative to where it is logical. That's all I'm asking. Logical and scientific. So you don't ruin anyone else's livelihood and raise the legacy of what we've been given. This is our inheritance. And that's what I'm trying to protect.
That was mighty. When I tell you, man, when I tell you the chat is like, it's lit. It is lit. It is lit. And I'm telling you, what she is saying is profound. And this is why we are doing our best. Now, this documentary, let me just tell you guys, we can't cover it all. And we're using these lives. We're asking each and every last one of you, if you know a cosmetologist, a barber, if you know a scholar, if you know a doctor, an OBGYN, a researcher, they need to come to the table with us. Because it's not so much that we're just trying to blow smoke up your Watusi and look at what we did, but you guys have to understand the backdrop to what the beauty industry did for this country and what it did for us as African Americans. As she said, we're going around saying we want shea butter, we want it to be natural, but there are no shea butter millionaires. And I went on live and I said it yesterday. I'm going to say this, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I went to West Africa. I went to the Gambia. Not the continent, guys. The smallest country on the entire continent of Africa. I went there. And I'm going to tell you exactly what they asked me to do. They said, can you please, and I'm talking about begging, calling me madame, can you please go to the America, madame, and bring what back? The technology, bring the science, help us Peanuts are like their largest commodity, if not one of the largest commodity in West Africa. And y'all still keep, like Cheryl said, you keep packing that damn shea butter into those jars, and they're like, stop it. They're asking us to help them revolutionize, advance, take this to the next level. They're looking at us, and you know what they think? They think we got it. And you know what? They're right. We do have it. We have George Washington Carver's legacy. And I think what's happening in the scholarly world, even when I look at the research, I've read so many papers now. There's this one sister, she bad. I'm talking about she was raw, okay? I can't think of her name. But when I look at the overarching research of what scholars do when they do research on the beauty industry, they just scratch the surface, like Cheryl said, with such frivolous stuff. Just totally frivolous stuff that really, they're not really on the pulse of the people who are working behind the chair that's doing the work, that knows and understands the science that's coupled with economic empowerment. We don't just stand behind the chair to do no damn hair. We stand behind the chair to advance humanity. We stand behind the chair because we want people to be able to vote. We stand behind the chair because we believe in education, because we ain't got time to spend 10 damn years in college, so we'll invest in you to take your black ass to college and do something with the money that we gave you to go to school with. You don't go to school and get the education and then say, oh, the cosmetologists they're lusters. They're using parabens, and they've not even demonstrated that parabens are even in the freaking products. And then you have hairstylists, licensed professionals, taking on the language, the culture of people who have no education. And they're saying, crack is cheap, crack is whack, it's creamy crack, it's back. You're going to tell me that dark and lovely is now dark and ugly? What? Talk about this. Tell us about these companies. I'm going to mute my mic. Tell us about these companies if you can, and just piggyback on that. And everybody is in the chat saying, yeah, we can come together. We can advance this industry. I know we can.
Let's say this. When white women, Italian women, Jewish women, Indian women, Asian women, when they go to the salon and they want to relax, it ain't crack. It's cocaine. You understand? It's sophisticated. When they bleach and they color and they get it's $8,000 to $2,000. And you not gonna dismantle white people's beauty industry. You won't do it. They won't let you do it. You will go into your black little research little hut. You will be on a college campus and you send that through white press. They ain't saying it. They are not going to let you with your inconclusive, may be linked or anything to deal with. Because if you think the gun lobby is powerful, you mess with the beauty lobby, mess with L'Oreal, mess with Alberto Culver, mess with Coty, Revlon. They're not playing with you. They're not doing it. Mess with Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. You will not touch Fenty. It's not going to happen. So we have to be just as strategic, because at the end of the day, if you have, because Fenty is getting ready to go public, if you want to buy, and we come up with 4, 5, 6, 7 new salon systems, as soon as it takes root, that research gonna stop, because they're gonna want to have stock in it. They're gonna want to say, oh, okay, well, you can't beat them, join them, and they will join you, will fund you, will give you money. They will do all kind of things. We have got to be about the business of where we started. We are alchemists. We are chemical technologists. We are good thinkers. We create things. At the end of the day, you didn't see no press on Garrett Morgan's or A.G. Gaston's little relaxer? Did you? You didn't hear nothing about research says pressing and curling. They do have something called hot comb alopecia. I mean, where did they get this from? And they because they think we don't know any better. Actually, junk research is insulting to our intelligence. Actually, it really is. It's insulting. And so, and my dad, Mr. Morrow, hated it because how you gonna tell me and research something about me? You ain't even me. At the end of the day, white women can go in there and get hair relaxers. Oh, they'll say, oh, my hair is puffy, mixed or biracial. They'll go to a salon, pay $450 for it. Boom. Never. And we just have a cultural problem. And I understand that racism is in other issues. I get it. But we have to compartmentalize those and separate those out when it comes to $1.5 trillion African American people. And we want that money. We want that money. It's ours.
You guys understand this. We and the consumers are asking it. By the way, everyone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. And we do. We appreciate you guys. This is a very tough conversation. It is not easy to have. As you can see, Cheryl is more refined. I told you I'm ghetto, okay? I'm not Cheryl. I don't know if you guys saw that interview with Michael Jackson's nephews, and they said when they was talking about Michael Jackson and Jermaine Jackson, all of them was like, we reserve the right to speak. We're just gonna keep. He said, we ain't rich. Them our daddies. That's their money. We from the hood. When y'all, the media come over here, we gonna kick y'all. He was cut. I'm that stylist. See, Cheryl, she got that nice vocabulary. You know what I'm saying? Because I know, I'm living this. I know for a fact that no African American, as a matter of fact, no people right now on the planet that's altering texture, Afro texture. Come on, Nene. Here go Nene. Okay? Anybody altering texture, like this is my mannequin Nene, you're right? If you altering this type of texture, if you're combing this type of texture, anything, you're stretching it, twisting it, locking it, I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for that young lady's father. And if you think I'm going to sit here, I'm not going to do it. I'm that chick. And that's why I said the scholarly community, you guys can do better. We've been going down to the state of Ohio begging for more education. They got STEM in elementary schools, STEM or STEAM, now it's called STEAM. They have them in universities, and you guys ain't going to offer us a seat at the that's a new word now. Can we get a seat at the table? I ain't asking no seat at the table that my ancestors built. We built this. This is called, like Dr. Morrow, George Washington Carver, it's the legacy, this is ours. So we don't have to be asking these people, can we? No. That's why I love Rev Air. Because Rev Air didn't say, like I said, Rev Air said, we ain't moving until you tell us what to do. That's what Rev Air, to talk to us, teach us. We don't know everything. And I just said, don't be afraid to say you won't. That's a seat at the table. And so we have to stop this divisiveness because we're not becoming economically stronger. And beauty is the place to have it. Beauty is the place where you're going to get those millions. And it's not because black people spend a lot of money on their hair. Black people don't spend nearly as much money on their hair as other ethnicities. We're not the only people. We're not getting our piece of the pie. And we're never going to get it if we don't do what Cheryl is saying. We have to end the divisiveness. There's right now, we're going to go on record to say today, it's not inconclusive. It's not that we're not finished yet. There is zero research that when Luster's, Dark and Lovely, I don't know who owns Dark and Lovely, Avalon Industries, when these people make relaxers, Cornell McBride, all of these companies, they're not making this stuff to kill us. This stuff does not cause cancer. Now, does it have some issues? Can it be advanced? Yes. But using scare tactics and making the cosmetologist the boogeyman. And you got people in the chat that's saying, fear. They're afraid. Thank you so much. I'm using she said, try using headphones. Okay, I'll do that the next time. Okay, let me take this out too. Hold on. Okay, I got it. All right. So again, these are the things that we have to make sure that it doesn't take place. We have to go ahead on and do our part to make this a heck of a lot better, and we can do it. So we have about 2 more minutes before we wrap this up, and then Cheryl, I'm just going to ask you to help take us out with how do we end this discussion. They like, yeah, Doja, you shut up. Okay. All right. Don't worry, guys. I got this. Okay. So Cheryl, take us out, and what are some steps that we can take to begin to just turn it just a little bit. Let's shift it and pivot. What can we do to unite us all to come together?
I think one of the wonderful glues between all of us, and it's one that is real obvious. We have the gift of the mother texture. We are all Africa's children, and no matter what, all phenotypes and all phenotypes of hair on this planet came out of the continent of Africa first. And for us to have an appreciation of each other, the appreciation of our desires and needs and what we want, and to be inside of Afrocentricity, the principle of Afrocentricity. And that means that hair is to be manipulated. And it is to be manipulated according to the identity and the personality of the daemon, the person, the persona, according to your self-value and your self-worth and what mark you want to make on the world. And when we come to understand Afro cosmetology just as a discipline, I think that is probably going to be the one that connects us all. For us to learn the beauty sciences and the science and everything of Afro textures, and we can understand that, wow, we can come together on the education and then peel out, because it's a huge subject. Those in media, those in formulation, those who want to be in chemistry, those who want to be in engineering, one who wants to make brushes and combs, one who wants to be into making safer technology and safer formulation for the salon and then the consumers around the world. For us also to learn how to, sorry.
Okay, she's going to come back in. Again, when she comes back in, we will, sorry guys. So when she comes back in, we're going to go ahead on and continue the discussion. But what she's saying, guys, is that now, more than ever, is a wonderful time for us all to begin to unite. I'm hoping that this fiery, well, at least I was fiery. Cher was a little bit more reserved than I was. But I keep telling y'all, I'm just a little bit passionate out here in these social media streets. But we can do this. We can do this. I'm going to bring her back in and mute my mic.
And that's why I don't like being interrupted at no point because of things like that. But as I was saying, we can really have an opportunity to come together under the education, reteach our children, reteach Generation Z, and then for all of who wants to get into all of the brackets, production, hardware, soft goods, product, branding, incubators, accelerators, media, salon building, new salon furniture design. There is so much room that we could be doing into building the industrial revolution that we so need in this country right now. And I want to say this: the median age of African Americans in the United States is 28. And the median age of the whole continent of Africa is 19 years old. And we are a young people. That means that we must connect to the future engineers and the future chemists, the future, doctors and whatever. But we must lead with our own narrative so we can have our own intellectual property and our own books. We need to communicate with the state legislature and say, okay, there's some couple of things that are not copacetic. We need to change these things, change the power of the license, what the license allows us to do. I'm committed. And I will say this, as you guys will hear me on July 15th, my dad's tribute, he gave me very clear instructions. Do not leave this industry just vulnerable in the way it is. Put it back the way at least you were born, the way you found it. Made Black folks rich. You made everybody in the world rich but yourself. It's time for you to do it. But you have to be vanguards, and you got to be critical and being able to understand that, yeah, the thieves are still out there, and we got to get it together.
Okay, guys, there you have it. We've got to get it together. I see some wonderful people in the chat. We do have the lovely, illustrious Dr. Tamika Ellington. Thank you so much for being just observing this fiery discussion. Also, Miss Laura Green, we see y'all on Facebook. We appreciate the support. I hope I'm saying your name right. Naya Kobe, I appreciate you and Miss Foster for being our technicians. You know what that means. That's y'all job from now on. So now y'all got to come live with us every Monday at 6 o'clock to make sure that we have our sounds, our mics, and everything is right. My 6th grade BFF, thank you so much. Rashida, our Canadian family, we really, really appreciate you guys. LinkedIn, we thank you guys so very much. For being a part of this platform as well, though we know y'all just a little bit more shy. Ms. Foster, we can always, like I said, we can count on you guys. We saw my brother Sean Eni Harret in the house representing the Mossy Warrior Clan, baby. So we do really appreciate that. And then, yes, we do need to take control of this industry. But like Cheryl said, we have to do this on a united front. And so we're just inviting everyone to come together. We do, Cheryl, I'm saying we, I notice I just threw myself in there. But there is Afro cosmetology available via Cheryl Morrow, and we're gonna unfold that shortly after we do this documentary so that we can invite people to learn about Afro textured hair from an African-centric perspective is what we're saying. We're not being divisive. We want to bring everybody together, but there are other views, there are other school of thoughts that we believe will illuminate and it will ignite the imagination to take this industry to a whole nother level. And we would not be able to do this if it was not for your dad, Dr. Willie Morrow, again, who everything that we do is dedicated to him, and we have to do our part. By her dad. We really have to do this, guys. So we will be back with part 3 because, as we said, this content is heavy, and so we want you guys to come back. And please join us next Monday at 6 o'clock. Our mics will be better. I've already been told to put some headphones in, so I'm taking all kinds of notes. And you guys watch those stock markets, like she said. And remember, this would not be happening if this was blonde hair, because I'm guaranteeing you, if it was the other way around, we would not be having this conversation. And I'm going to leave you guys with that to think about, okay? So, Cheryl, any last words before we just go ahead on?
Mr. Morrow carried around a book. And when he would see Black people's hair, he would really salivate. When he would see Black people's curly hair, he would salivate at the mouth and ask, excuse me, can I have some of your hair? Because he was literally in love with Black people's hair, and it was his life. And to make it better, and to not make it better in terms of to change it, but to make it better for you when you wanted to change it, and to do it in the best way and the healthiest way possible. That was the goal. And so he, that was his mission in life.
Okay. And I think that's a wonderful way to end it. What is your mission in life? As my mother would say, and I'm sure Dr.
You're muted.
beauty. And I'm sure Dr. Morrow would say the same thing my mother would say. And we're going to close it with this quote. All right, this is Mother Wit and Father Wit. And Cheryl, you can put a thumbs up.
I think you're muted.
Oh, okay. How's that? Is that good? Yeah, it's called unmute the mic. Is that what it's called? Okay, can you hear me? No, you can't hear me. Okay. Okay, all right. We're good. Can you guys hear me? Okay. Now we're good? All right, okay. So I want to close it with a quote from my mom, and I think your dad would love this. We want you guys to munch on this, and Cheryl, you put a thumbs up if your dad would say this. All right, you guys ready? All right, here we go. Good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. All right, see you guys next week at 6 o'clock. Part 3.